Alright, what's going on everybody? This is the Street here back to a brand new video. A little bit later in the day than I anticipated. It is 9:30 in the evening. I wanted to do this video around 1 or 2 o'clock when the official top 25 polls come out on Sunday, which is today. Did take me a little nap, so then dinner and such. Played some video games, of course. Watching right now, currently watching the Green Bay Packers at Dallas game. It's the first game in which Micah Parsons, who was traded away from the Cowboys' first game back. It's 2016. Green Bay just scored. They're up by 4 points with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. I personally rooting for the Packers because I hate the Dallas Cowboys, even though I'm from Texas. But that's the NFL, the no fun league. Let's go ahead and get into week 5 of the college football season. A lot of upsets and awesome close games this week. Arguably one of the best weeks that we've seen out of the 5. Let's go ahead and start off with the first upset on Friday. Florida State versus Virginia. I remember I was in bed about to go to sleep, and I just happened to be on my phone and see someone post on social media. I forget what social media was, but posting about how close the game was. So I ran back into the living room, turned the TV on, and got to watch the overtime of this game. I believe it was second overtime. And Virginia wins. A late interception. Stormed the field. Virginia now 4-1 and 2-0 in the ACC, so they probably will be ranked, is what I'm guessing. Florida State suffers their first loss after getting into the top 10. Just a great environment for Virginia. Loud. I didn't really get to watch most of the game. As you can see here at the half, it was 21-20. As you can see here, I don't know. Rather take losses now than later in the season when it matters more. So, the days of undefeated champions are long behind us, so not that big. Take one loss, learn from it, and become better. I think Florida State still definitely will be a playoff team. But yeah, continue on. TCU just now getting in the top 25 and already losing to Arizona State, who had a upset loss last week, and gets a big win, 27-24. Sam Levitt, one of those Hyman's favorites, who has not had a good year so far. Almost 300 yards. Big win for Arizona State. They're now 2-0 in the Big 12. Let's see. Ohio State versus Washington. I'm sure Ohio State would want to put up more points. I mean, Washington is still a Big Ten opponent, and they were undefeated at this time, but they probably will be, in my opinion, probably a bottom feeder in the Big Ten, the bottom half for sure. But like I said before, all Julian Saban has to do is just steer the boat. You have arguably the most talented, star-studded, most expensive roster in the entire nation. All you gotta do is not make mistakes. I don't even think he still has yet to throw an interception, if I am correct, and they still end up winning. This game was awesome right here, second overtime. I'm not gonna lie, this was not really a technically close game till the very, very end. It was all Oregon. Penn State could do nothing on offense. Drew Aller had a horrible game. They also stopped the run. I believe at one point they only had 46 yards rushing, as last year against Oregon they had over 200, which is the biggest part of their offense, is establishing the run. And so Oregon made it their purpose to stop the run and force Drew Aller to throw, and they exposed him as maybe not a good quarterback, or maybe he just had a bad game. I don't know. But Oregon was also moving the ball down the field very successfully. They had some mistakes, some third downs they didn't complete, some fourth downs they didn't complete. Well, and I think had they completed those, this might have been a blowout win, to be honest, or at least more than 10-point win. But they were down big in the fourth quarter, and it seemed that it was over. Oregon hit the gut punch, the ice in their veins. People thought the game was over, and then Penn State scores 21 unanswered. 2 touchdowns in the fourth and in one in overtime to take the lead. And all of a sudden, they're back in the game. But just too little too late. And Oregon wins in overtime. And interception ceiling to Drew Aller. did not have a very good game, but Dante Moore was very impressive in this game. I think after this game, he is the Heisman favorite. He was poised, calmed, and collected. When the team needed him, he made plays either with his arm or with his legs, or both at the same time. Arguably, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the nation right now. Unbelievable the way he played. LSU versus Ole Miss. LSU and Brian Kelly again continue to uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Continue to struggle against top tier opponents in the SEC, and they lose to Ole Miss. Ole Miss, as I said earlier last week, I think Ole Miss is a real threat in the SEC. They are a contender for the SEC. I think their new quarterback is even better than Jackson Dart, who by the way started today and gave the Giants their first win against the undefeated Chargers team. He was a great quarterback, but I think this Chambliss guy is even better. I think this Chambliss guy is also one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I would say it's between him and Dante Moore, the best two. He is unbelievable athlete, great arm, pure talent, a lot of great receivers, good running back, absolute firepower of offense, and their defense has gotten a lot better. I think Ole Miss is a dangerous team, very dangerous team, a dark horse for the championship, you might even say. And they pull off the win against Ole. This is another one of those games where it looks close on paper, but it was not close by any means. It was a dominant Ole Miss game where LSU just kept chipping away here and there and not giving up. But again, this seems like it was Ole Miss's game all game long, and they just let LSU hang in there, if that makes sense. Ole Miss undefeated and will definitely be in the top 10 after this week. Alabama, despite having a down year the last 2 years, still owns Georgia. It's so funny that like Kirby Smart's record against everyone else is like 130 something and 13 versus Alabama. He's like 1-9 or 1-7, and Alabama was the 17th ranked team in the nation. They lost to Florida State. They looked like they were going to be maybe not even the top half of the SEC this year. Go in and beat Georgia. They were actually up, as you can see, 21-14 at the half. Got closer at the end of the game, but Georgia again falls to Alabama. Ty Simpson struggled early in the season, has really turned it up another notch, and is playing extremely well. Extremely well. He is probably the key to their success, is how much better he's been playing. They got a lot of good receivers. Obviously, it's Alabama. They always have good receivers, but Alabama pulls off the upset win at Georgia as well. Very tough place to play. Auburn and A&M. A&M secures the win. A low-scoring defensive game, 16-10. Marcus Reed, another one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Not good quarterbacks, and you can see a lot of them are from the SEC. Auburn falls to 3-2, 0-2. I mean, they're a good team. It's just the SEC is so competitive that they will not be a great team, and they will probably not be in the top half of the SEC, unfortunately. Indiana versus Iowa, another close game here. Late touchdown, Indiana remains undefeated. I think they play Ohio State next week. We're going to look at the schedule, but their first real test, they're undefeated. Second 5-0 start in a row. That's the first time since like the 1980s or something. I don't know, or maybe ever. I'm not sure. Arizona and Iowa State. Arizona suffers their first loss to Iowa State in a convincing fashion, 39-14. Noah Fifta, as you can see, is still led in passing yards, but only scored 14 points. I'm wondering if he had some interceptions to go with it. Let's check it out. He had 2 interceptions. That's probably it. Only 10 more than I don't know how you say his last name, but yeah, 2 interceptions definitely hurts you. Probably might have been a closer game. Let's say you get one of those back and get a touchdown instead. That's now 21-39. Still not very close. So obviously Iowa State is a better team here. I think Arizona is one of those teams that Noah Fifta is a very, very talented quarterback, but that's about it. Iowa State is undefeated, 5-0, looking to be the powerhouse of the Big 12 and get into the college football playoff for the second year in a row. No, that was Arizona State. They did not get in last year. I apologize. Tennessee and Mississippi State. This was another one of those close games. Actually, Tennessee was down quite a lot, and they had a late fourth quarter comebacks and won it in overtime. Aguilar had 335 yards, been a great quarterback. Tennessee escapes upset at Mississippi State, who were undefeated, but no longer. And Tennessee gets a big-time win, because that would mean they would have been 0-2 in the SEC had they lost this game. That would have been really, really bad. They remain undefeated. Mississippi State, though, putting the team on notice. Maybe they're a pretty good team. They can compete. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. Georgia Tech and Wake Forest, another close game. See, a lot of close games this week. Wins by 1 point in overtime, in which they had to go for the 2-point conversion. Wake Forest got it. Sorry, Georgia Tech got it first, and then Wake Forest got intercepted on the play, and they pull off the win. And the comeback, I might add. It was 17-3 at the half, as you can see. Georgia Tech, undefeated, 5-0, looking like one of the contenders for the ACC this year. Utah State and Vandy. Vandy, 55 points. They are an offensive juggernaut. David Pavia is putting teams on notice. They're undefeated. They're 5-0. Next week they play Alabama, by the way, pretty sure. We'll get into that later. But they are scoring a lot of points here. Their offense is really great. Their defense is pretty good. I mean, not really. That you give up 35 points to Utah State, it's a little sus. But really good offense. And maybe they can turn some heads in the SEC and be competitive this year. You never know. I doubt it, but hey. Massachusetts versus Missouri. This is no shock here. It's 42-6, absolute domination. Let's move on. Illinois versus USC. USC loses to Illinois after Illinois last week lost like 63-10 versus Indiana. So what does that say about USC? It's funny how USC and UCLA broke up the Pac-12 just to be bottom feeders of the Big Ten. Like USC and UCLA, since they joined the Big Ten, have been awful programs, and so it's ironic, and I kind of enjoy it because I dislike both programs, and I definitely dislike them now that they destroyed the Pac-12 for greed. So I hope they continue to lose and continue to be bottom feeder programs. The rest of their history, they can go suck a pee-pee, in my opinion. Illinois gets a big-time win they needed to get back to right the ship, so to speak. Notre Dame and Arkansas. A lot of people were thinking this was going to be a closer game than that. Arkansas was going to make it competitive, and they did not. Notre Dame scores 28 points in the second quarter, and it's a freaking blowout. 56-13. As I said, I used to live in Arkansas. Kind of grew up there in a way, from age 7 to 18. So everyone I know from there, obviously a big-time Razorback fan because they live in Arkansas, and they are not happy. Sam Pittman got fired after this game. It was in Arkansas. Patino, who was their coach previously, who got fired because he was in a wreck and was having an affair or boinking some young lass, but he's back as the interim head coach. Really good offensive mind, so we'll see what happens. I mean, they're in the SEC, the most competitive league in the nation, besides maybe the Big Ten. They probably will definitely be under 500 this year, but maybe with the new head coach, we'll see what happens. They're still a talented team, and I think they got a pretty good quarterback. Their defense is probably one of the worst in the entire nation. But, pull up they get some upsets, get some pride. Colorado falls to 0-2 in the Big 12, 2-3. I said this once, and I'll say it again. I think Deion Sanders made a mistake leaving Jackson State. I think he would have been probably a champion every year. Still had a lot of NIL money because of how famous he was. Bringing a lot of attention to HBCUs. He came to Colorado, and he has not been successful since. I mean, even what's-his-face's son, Shooter Sanders, was 13-12. That's not like a record at all, despite getting his jersey retired. That was kind of retarded. Didn't win a bowl game, I don't think, either. Sorry, I shouldn't use the R word. But BYU is 4-0. They win 24-21. And yeah, that's it. I'm curious to see scores. Let's go to the ACC. Did Clemson play this week? Duke beat Syracuse. Louisville is 4-0. Good for them. Oh, they came back. They were down big time. Oh, they were down 17-0. Wow, good for them. They did not play this week. Who else I want to look at? I wanted to look. Looking for a specific team, I think. Baylor, Utah. Houston's 4-0. Good for them. Oregon State, yeah, yikes. Is it the Big Ten that we're thinking about? Let's just scroll through really quickly. Nope, UCLA. Whatever his name is, Emalava. The man in Tennessee gave him a warning. They said no, so he went to UCLA. He's now 0-4 and having a horrible year, so suck it. All right, let's just go ahead and go into the rankings real quick. See what we got going. All right, Ohio State sees number one. Obviously, Oregon shoots up to number two, very, very, very deserved after a top 10 win. Miami down only 1-3. Ole Miss up 9 spots to 4, very, very well deserved. Oklahoma rounds up the top 5 at 5. A&M up to 6. Penn State drops. Bro, this freaking ad shit. Sorry. Penn State drops 4-7. Indiana in the top 10 now at number 3. Texas moves up 1 to 9. Alabama moves up back in the top 10. No, did they even start in the top 10? Did they? I don't remember. Yeah, they were in number 9. They move up 7 to number 10. Texas Tech just outside at number 11. Honestly, here's the thing. Back in the day, I used to root against Texas Tech because they were our rival. When the different conference, the Texas team in Texas, I want them to be successful. I am very happy to see them at 4-0. I hope they go undefeated. I hope they win the Big 12. I hope we see them in the playoffs. That'd be awesome. Wouldn't that be awesome for Texas and Texas Tech to play in the college football playoffs? That would be insane. So I wish them all the success in the world. Same with Baylor. Same with A&M until they play Texas. You know. Georgia drops 7 spots, number 12. LSU drops 9 to 13. Iowa State, Tennessee the same, rounding out the top 15. Vandy up to 16. Georgia Tech moves down 1 spot, winning to number 17. Florida State drops 10 spots, number 18. Missouri's at 19. Michigan drops 1 to 20. Notre Dame 2-2 is to the top 25 at 21. Illinois at 22. BYU at 23. Virginia obviously upset Ohio State. Not ranked before, are now at 25. Same with Arizona State, back in the top 25 after slipping a bit. Just outside is South Florida, Utah, and Mississippi State. Dropping obviously is USC, TCU. Let's go ahead and go ahead and go to the stats real quick. See what we got cooking. Baylor guy still at the top. USC guy Duke pretty much unchanged. Rushing Missouri, blah 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 blah. Pretty much unchanged. That Hardy dude is a very great running back. Receiving USC, Tennessee. Okay, let's go into the nope, not schedule. Let's go to the scores. I'm gonna do this way. Let's go take out what we got for week 6. Let's click it. I did not mean to open that. West Virginia, BYU. West Virginia is not that great of a team, but they have proven that they can be competitive. BYU needs to look out. I think West Virginia is a better team than Colorado, and Colorado almost beat BYU. So it's going to be a big test. It's going to be at Utah, so it'll be a home game. It'll help a little bit. Kentucky and Georgia. Which again, Kentucky, their coach is a defensive guru. They have a great defense every year, but they just suck on offense. And Georgia, coming off a very upsetting loss to Alabama, who they thought were going to be a down team this year. So either A, they're going to be pissed off and they're going to beat the shit out of Kentucky, or they're going to continue to struggle. I think it's going to be close. I think Kentucky will keep it close, but I think Georgia will probably pull out late. But you never know. Iowa State and Cincinnati. Iowa State looking to remain undefeated at Cincinnati. Wisconsin at Michigan. It's another one of those games where people thought that Michigan was going to be a bit more competitive than they are right now. They're only 2-2. But yeah. That's funny that Bryce Underwood only has 2 passing touchdowns. That's insane. Illinois versus Purdue, that should be a blowout, but we've seen Purdue pull off the most insane upsets ever. Penn State and UCLA. UCLA sucks, so this should be a comeback game for Penn State. Texas and Florida. Arch Manning, as we all know, finally had himself a game against Sam Houston State, one of the worst teams in the nation. We'll see how he does against a true test. Holy shit. Sorry, big play by Jordan Love there in the game I'm watching. But Florida has had a very, very, very down year. They thought Jay Langley was going to be one of the Heisman favorites, that they were going to be competitive in the SEC. They're now 1-3. Not a good team at all. This is going to be at Florida in the swamp. I think Texas will take care of business this year. I think that Arch Manning is going to have himself a game, and he's going to right the ship, going to prove that he deserved. Maybe not deserved all the hype, but that he's a good quarterback. I think Texas wins this easily. I think their defense is one of the best in the nation, and they put a stop to Florida and beat them by multiple touchdowns. Vandy, here he is. Vandy and Alabama. As we all know, last year Alabama beat number 1 Georgia. They came number 1, and then in the very next week lost to Vanderbilt. Can they do it again? They won't be at home. They'll be at Alabama. But can they do it? This would be. Here's the thing. If Vandy wins this game, they will be undefeated, and they should be in the top 10. That would be insane to see Vandy undefeated and in the top 10. Not gonna lie, I might be pulling for Vandy here. Boise State in Notre Dame, they had a tough first game. I think they got blown up by somebody, but they have right the ship a bit. Right the ship a bit. They'll be at Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Here's the thing. Probably will be a blowout. But if Boise State wins this game, that'd be insane. Wouldn't mind it either. Louisville undefeated versus Virginia. Virginia's first game as a top 25 team. How did they respond? What are they gonna do? I mean, this is a toss-up in my opinion. I really don't know. I think Virginia's quarterback played very, very great against Florida State. Let's see how he does 2 weeks in a row. Kent State versus Oklahoma. This should be well, John Mateer, as we all know, broke his hand or something. He had a successful surgery, so he will be out this game probably. But the surgery was insane. So kudos to the doctor. You are a genius at your craft, my friend. They're saying that John Mateer will be back in 21 days, which means he might be back in time for the Texas versus Oklahoma game. And I want to see that. Again, I'm a Texas fan. So people are like, oh, I hate Oklahoma. They lose every game. No. I want Oklahoma to win every game for them to play us. I want them to be competitive. I want our matchups to be top 5 matchups or top 10 matchups every time because it means more and it's awesome. Like, and it feels better too to win. It doesn't feel good when your team's the enemy team or your team you dislike the most sucks and you beat them. It's like whatever. But when you're both top teams, and it just feels that much better. Not to mention that we came to the Big 12 and people were making fun of Texas and Oklahoma, despite Texas being arguably the most successful. Not just football. I meant like the most successful school in all of college football, in all of college, not just football, all sports, in terms of how successful their sports programs have been across all men and women, everything. And I like Oklahoma to be competitive as well. Texas Tech versus undefeated Houston. Big test here at Houston. How are they going to do it? Obviously, Texas Tech is the #1 offense in the nation, and their backup comes in when they were struggling, and then he blows it out of the water, and he's really, really good. So they got 2 great quarterbacks. So regardless of who was starting, they are the best offense in the nation. Now, I don't think Houston's going to be able to slow them down. I'm not going to lie. Minnesota versus Ohio State. Should be blowout. Miami, big tester for both teams. Florida State trying to right the ship after the embarrassing loss to Virginia. Miami trying to remain undefeated. This is a big time game for Florida State because if they lose this game, they will be 0-2 in the ACC. This is Miami's first ACC game. Mississippi State coming off that almost upset playing A&M at College Station. A&M is a top 10. How would they handle the stress that comes being a top 10 team? We'll see. But a lot of good games here that could go either really close upsets or some blowouts, but we'll see. That's it for today's week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe for more content. Probably a bit longer episode, but a bit of rambling. But, again, appreciate all the love and support. And as always, this is Z3 signing out.